The irony is that we have floods, and this is not the first time, but we have dry taps. It looks like planning is not one of the things that our county governments basically have managed to perfect. And as it is, from what the lady was saying, is that they still know water in Dakar. 30% is pretty low, despite all the floods that we have had. The question is, isn't there a way that we're able to harness and harvest all the water that is being wasted right now? Let's start with you, Sheila.
First and foremost, I would say it's some of the news you see out there in Kenya, you just wonder what is happening with people. The lady there has spoken about the water, and she's told us there's water shortage, and the water shortage is going to continue in the foreseeable future. She hasn't given us solutions. Like told us, expect public health. There's going to be a lot of compromises when it comes to public health. Because in Nairobi, first of all, there's this toilet situation. We have flush toilets. Now, without water, what's going to happen there? We have restaurants that require water. We have houses. We need water to wash hands. We need water to cook. What measures do you have in place to advise people? It's one thing telling people you're going to have water shortage and then stop it there. And it's another thing to tell people you're going to have water shortage. However, these are the remedial actions in place. Now, that's the first thing. It's very unprofessional and extremely unhelpful to tell people, this is your problem, deal with it. No. So we need to have that kind of responsibility to tell people, this is the problem. However, this is how you can mitigate these problems. That is the first thing. The second thing, planning is a huge problem when you listen to this. It seems like we have only that one reservoir for the whole of the capital city. We do not have plan B.
Right.
So when we do not have, when there's low water levels, we don't know how to harness the rain. Water is rain, rain is water, so we could harness that. We don't seem to have that. We don't seem to build other reservoirs elsewhere.
And there doesn't seem to be a plan working towards that, because it's one thing not to have it now. It's another thing to say in the next 5 years, this is something that we are looking at how we're going to solve.
So basically, we're leaving ourselves to be at the mercy of nature. We're waiting for the rain to come down and the rain to give us water. That is really wrong. There is someone somewhere who is not doing their job properly. And we as a people, as I said yesterday, we need to be angry. We need to find our anger to demand for this. Water is a basic right. Water is a necessity to have, especially in a country whereby we have tap waters. It would be another thing if we had wells and we're going to, to go to the borehole and carrying water.
Dig it out.
Dig it out, yes.
Sandra, your thoughts on, first of all, our county government's ability to plan or not plan?
I think that's it's a problem that cuts across in terms of early warning systems and disaster management. I think that is something that we really need to focus on, because it's a cycle for us. We either have water shortage or we have famine and drought in certain parts of the country. So it's very cyclic. And the problem we have is that we are not very good at holding people accountable in terms of delivering services to us. And with every election period, we have all these promises. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And, after a couple of months, we end up in the same situation. For me, on this issue, I'm trailing my sight and thoughts a lot on the steps that are going to be taken by the Ministry of Environment now that we've embarked on reforestation. And because I think that's going to be the say all, do it all for us moving forward, because I think what we are witnessing right now is not something that started occurring a year ago.
Absolutely.
It's been practices, bad practices that we've adopted over a period of time. So we are suffering the consequences. And so for us to change the situation, then we must go back to ground zero and start rectifying the wrongs that we did then. So for me, I'll be following very closely on what the Ministry of Environment is doing in terms of its reforestation. And ensuring that our forest cover is back to what it was.
All right, and before we wind up, just to look quickly at the headlines that we have this morning for the benefit of somebody who might be joining us now. And on the Standard, it is IEBC, and the headline is Power Games Fueling IEBC Teams Woes. So, of course, get yourself a copy of the Standard. There's also an interesting picture on the Standard there. We have the Deputy President, we have Raila Odinga and David D. And, of course, those who've been following politically know that well, that picture, let's just say it speaks 1,000 words right there. And we're in the season of handshakes. So I don't know, the Deputy President is outstretching his hand. So I don't know if it's for a handshake or what it is for, but there you go. Get yourself a copy of the Standard. On the Daily Nation, inside the last days of IEBC. And finally, on the Star is Chebukati. 3 want to be paid 220 million to exit. That's where we're going to exit at that point in time. To get yourself a copy copy of the dailies and get to see what's going on. So thank you very much, Sandra Ochola and
you.
Sheila Maunga, for joining us this morning on this segment of the show. It's now 6 minutes to 7. This is the point where we release our KTN home viewers and say goodbye. Life and Style is about to begin. On KTN News, do stay with us. We've got more stories making headlines. Also, today being Wednesday, we're going to be getting into the newsroom and retrospect and look at how we, members of the Fourth Estate, have been doing our job. That's all coming up right here on KTN News. KTN